Okay, welcome back to another episode of Banking Without Borders. I'm Johnny, joined by my co-host Jan, and today we are stepping into the ring for the fintech fight of the decade. Revolut Ultra versus Klarna Max. So these two are basically the final boss level for fintech memberships. We've got metal cards, lounge access, subscriptions, travel perks, and of course, annual price tags that are over £500. But we need to address the elephant in the room. Did Klarna copy Revolut's homework? Because when you look at their paid plans, the similarities are hard to ignore. In some cases, they have the same subscription benefits and they both claim up to £5,000 in annual value. We're also going to expose some fine print buried in Klarna's terms that give us a look into what they might be planning in the future, and the Revolut 72-hour trap that could quietly invalidate your travel insurance. Now, Revolut Ultra is £55 a month or £660 a year, and Klarna Max is $44.99 a month or roughly £540 annually. And savvy listeners might remember that when Ultra first launched, it was priced at £540 a year, so we've already got an interesting similarity. But there are also some major differences here, right, Jan? Because Ultra is clearly a full current account with banking functionality and a stack of additional features. Klarna, on the other hand, isn't a bank account, at least not right now, and many of its features are just built around subscriptions and spending.
You're absolutely right, Johnny. Klarna is more of a spending layer than a bank account, in my opinion. So it doesn't have a sort code, doesn't come with an account number. There's no way to receive external transfers. You literally need to fund it with your own current account every single time you want to recharge your balance. And there are also some other differences. For example, you can't go ahead, withdraw money from an ATM. Despite having a physical card, it's not possible. They don't allow that. You can't receive interest on savings. Not possible, unfortunately. And Revolut definitely excels in these things. You can definitely see that Revolut Ultra is made to be your main bank account, essentially, with £2,000 of monthly free ATM withdrawals, up to 4% interest on savings, and many other benefits.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Klarna do offer savings rates in the European Union, for example, and that's probably something that we could anticipate to have in the future when this count, not just Klarna Max, but this offering of Klarna in the UK becomes more bank-based, shall we say, which I think is something that they've got lined up in the future. But right now, it's really pinned on being like a reward spending card, isn't it? Particularly with those Klarna points that you can earn.
Oh yeah, Klarna points. Johnny, let's actually jump into that. With Revolut, we already know that there's one rev point per pound that we spent, which is being added to our balance. Klarna makes this a little more difficult. So Klarna allows you to earn cashback, but not quite. Actually, the rate is, they claim that you receive 1% of cashback on transactions that you pay in full, so where you don't take advantage of the buy now, pay later offering. However, these are being credited in Klarna cashback points. This is where it gets complicated. Klarna cashback points. You receive one cashback point for every £100 or euros that you spend with your card, and these can then be converted to Avios afterwards. The rate at which these are being converted is literally 81 Avios for one Klarna point. If you're looking at other mileage programs, the ratio varies even more. I think with Flying Blue, it's something around 70, 74 or something, if I'm not wrong. We'll show it on the screen. With All Accors, which is a good hotel program that I'm personally taking advantage of, it's 47 or 48, I believe. Also show that on the screen. And that's when you need a calculator in order to figure out whether this is actually worth it for you or not, in my opinion.
And I mean, immediately I'm thinking, wait. So if I spend £100 with Revolut through Revolut Ultra, I get 100 Avios points. So £100 of spending with Klarna is only 81 Avios points. That's a striking difference immediately for anyone watching or listening to this. That wants to use this to earn Avios. Immediately don't. There are better alternatives.
And I think it's fascinating that they claim 1% of cashback.
Yes.
When we always assume that Avios are literally, if you redeem them, not only for flight tickets, we always assume they're worth 1 penny each. And Klarna apparently has a different math here. It's fascinating to me.
That is a bit striking. From a commitment perspective, arguably Klarna Max is better. They set this up as a rolling monthly, call it a contract, so to speak. So you're able to cancel it every month. You will have a fee of £50 if you receive the card, which is a metal rose-tinted card. Revolut Ultra is a platinum-plated card. I'll let you decide which one you prefer. Personally, I like platinum. Jan, do you have a preference?
I think the Klarna card looks very, very feminine. This rolled gold, I mean, it's somewhat elegant, but for me personally, it's not my favorite choice of color.
Yeah, it's interesting that you said feminine because I've got some thoughts on that, but we'll save that for a little bit later. But the commitment is less definitive than Revolut Ultra. So with Revolut Ultra, without getting into too many details, we've got a whole video about Revolut Ultra where you can find out more about, the break costs and downgrading, but it is essentially an annual contract. It will cost you if you want to close it after a 14-day period, whereas Klarna Max is a lot easier than that. It's just month to month. I like that about it, Jan. I think that's somewhat better. I mean, it's no reason to go for it, but it's better.
That's a lot better because just imagine you have a trip planned. Maybe you're going away for a whole month or so. Then you can just go ahead, sign up for Klarna Max, use their virtual card. That's at least my understanding, and not pay a fee once you cancel when you come back. As long as you don't get the physical card, there is no break fee. That's how I understand it personally, and that makes it quite beneficial. In my opinion.
And while we're on the topic of traveling, like from an international spending perspective, Klarna Max could arguably be stronger because you get Visa's FX rates with no fixed fee on transactions, which from research we've done previously will be more competitive than the Revolut rate, which is, I can't tell you a specific number, but it will have some type of margin or FX markup. So again, could arguably be an advantage to Klarna Max.
100%.
There are some bonus shopping benefits for Klarna Max as well. This card is definitely geared towards spending. They give you £80 worth of monthly discounts for exclusive retailers like Samsung, Selfridges, and Boots. It's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it, Jan? Because you don't want to be persuaded to spend money that you wouldn't already have intended on spending. So you have to approach that carefully, but there's a chance that a retailer might be available where you would typically spend money and you would get a discount of, I believe, £80.
Yeah, and Boots is a pharmacy, right?
Yeah,
Boots is a pharmacy. People get sick. I could find this useful. Okay, they also sell cosmetics, I believe, but you can also buy drugs
absolutely. There's also an £8 quarterly credit, which is a lot more flexible than that. This is a quarterly credit of £8 that's just added to your statement, and that's just yours. So you're getting some cash or money back on the monthly fee, and I think that's somewhat beneficial. Is it striking enough or compelling enough to sign up? I don't think so. It doesn't hold the same weight as the subscriptions, Jan, which I think we should really jump into now because this is what differentiates the two accounts, but also has striking similarities.
Yeah, both Klarna and Revolut, they claim an annual value of around £4,000 to £5,000. And it's fascinating. We did the math. I think
that number,
they're somewhat off.
That number is across obviously the whole account. So for Revolut, for example, that would include like if you were to make use of like discounted international transfers, but the bulk of the value still lies in these subscriptions.
So with Revolut, the highlights that stand out in our opinion are the Financial Times Premium Digital. That's £55 a month typically. I believe also WeWork credits, depending on where you redeem them, can be worth up to, these 3 credits can be worth up to £135 per month. ClassPass, 20 credits a month. So that could be worth £40, I think. That's the amount we averaged here. And besides that, £50 of Turo credit. If you're within the UK and you like to hire a car sometimes, Turo is a great option. I've tried that actually.
Me too.
With Klarna, it's slightly different. The majority of the value probably comes from a small world, which is some sort of travel subscription I've personally not heard of. And I've actually made some bad experiences with similar subscriptions. They claim that they give you discounted flight tickets, I believe, discounted hotel stays, upgrades with certain conditions. But really looking at the website, I found it difficult to really grasp what they're offering here.
The website almost gives off, I don't want to say the S word, but it's a bit like that would be scam. Obviously it's not, but the ambiguity, it's hard to lock down what they actually do at a small world.
But the price is clear. So convert, it's priced in euro or US dollar. If you convert it to pound, It's 70 pounds per month with the premium tier, I believe. And then there is the Times.
Bit of a crossover with the FT there.
Yeah, somewhat, yeah. And then various other news. Vogue, GQ, The New Yorker, and some other ones.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit, yeah. We can get recipes there. So these newspapers probably worth around 60 pounds a month, in my opinion.
What about Clue Plus, Jan? This one feels... I'll let Jan explain what it is, but it's interesting to see something that's so gender specific.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So if I was to launch an account like this, I would... look at subscriptions, look at adding subscriptions that are useful for as many people as possible. Clue is a subscription that helps people track their menstruation cycle. So that's something very feminine. I guess 50% of the users would not take advantage of, assuming Klarna has as many male users as they have female users. There's also laundry subscription in there, 10 pounds of laundry credit. Not saying that laundry is something that's more feminine, but... You get what I mean. I mean, you really have to ask yourself at this point, how useful is it actually?
£10 of credit is also not a huge amount. I mean, that feels more like a sort of opening the door to having you spend more money at Laundry Heap.
6 kilos of laundry with Laundry Heap is around 18 or 19 pounds. We can show that on the screen again. So these 10 pounds will barely foot the bill.
It's a marketing instrument. It's it's like getting a letter through the door with a voucher for a company. It's really not that impressive.
Looking at this subscription list, for me personally, the most useful things would be Blinkist Premium, which I highly recommend. I think Blinkist is great. Revolut has
Headway.
I think it's Headway, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, Headway, which is similarly priced but has less content in there, and audiobooks.com, which I find also great. And depending on what kind of audiobooks you redeem, this one credit that you receive every month for can be worth up to 30 pounds. I'd average probably 8 pounds because you might be interested in listening to older books as well. But it's interesting. And the estimated monthly value of Revolut Ultra, in our opinion, that's 413 pounds. And with Klarna, that's 218 pounds. So that's about half.
Yeah, we should probably mention that the Revolut Ultra value includes the eSIM data that you get of 3 gigabytes per month. Interestingly, Klarna Max did launch with eSIM data, but we've been unable to find any information on it recently. Yeah, and which makes me feel like they possibly launched it and realized that it wasn't very popular or was, I don't know, too tricky to manage.
Maybe too expensive for them.
Too expensive. Couldn't find any more information on it though recently. There is obviously a striking difference though, right? Between the difference in value, whereas there's not a huge difference in cost. I appreciate Klarna Max is £10 cheaper each month, but that's not a huge difference versus almost 50% difference in value between the two plans. On at least on these subscriptions and that eSIM data that we're looking at.
There's one thing that Klarna does a lot better than, or slightly better than Revolut though, and that's the launch access. They work with LaunchKey, which is supposed to give you access to 1,800 launches across the world. And Revolut, I believe, they work with Dragon Pass, which is 1,400 launches. Slightly less, however. Both of them are unlimited. You can go in as many launches as you want. Companions are not included, I believe, right?
No, they're not included, buddy. I tried to lock down what you're looking at. If it's possible that you might get a discounted rate for a companion. As far as I can tell, I don't think so.
I don't like that.
No, me neither. But I suppose this subscription is for one person, but I appreciate with like certain like cards, credit cards and stuff, companions can come for free, like Amex Platinum, for example. One thing that I find fascinating though is that both Klarna Max and Revolut Ultra have travel insurance and cancel for any reason insurance. And this is where you can see some differences between the two. And also in some cases, Klarna Max is actually more compelling. The biggest thing I think here, you can cancel without being sick with these insurances, which I think is really, really useful for some people, particularly if you live a lifestyle which is, always on the move, always changing, things are coming up and you need to change booking dates. Those can be really useful tools, but you can get up to 70% of your booking back. Both offer £2,500 in limit per claim, which is good, and that you must cancel the trip over 24 hours before it starts. One of the big differences though, with Ultra, your trip must be booked over 72 hours before departure. So anyone who decides to book something in the short term, maybe 2 days before, and then suddenly has something come up and needs to cancel, well, that would be void. That wouldn't count. Whereas Klarna Max, they don't have a specific lead time on this. And it seems to me that you could book last minute and cancel last minute as long as you're over the 24 hours and still be fine. And then another striking difference is that Revolut Ultra allow you to pay for at least 75% of the primary transport and accommodation, whereas with Klarna, you have to pay for the whole trip to qualify. Although I don't know what you think, Jan, it's probably best to just book the whole thing with the Revolut Ultra card or through Klarna.
Yeah, if you have such a card, you'd like to make all transactions with it, I assume, in order to take advantage of the rewards, right, the points. Let's quickly touch on that 72-hour limit. In my opinion, that's not really a disadvantage. I can't remember the last time I booked the last-minute trip. I think I've done that, but it's many, many years ago, maybe 6-7 years ago,
fair.
Where I really had to move spontaneously somewhere. It doesn't happen all the time. I typically book weeks in advance or months.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. I think you're right. I think most people aren't going to have a problem with that, but it could trip someone up, and I think it's important to be aware. Travel insurance, the medical insurance is interesting. Revolut Ultra offer £10 million worth of medical cover, whereas Klarna is only 5 million. Striking difference, but also probably not that important. Search and rescue is available for both up to £5,000, and personal liability of £1 million is also included. They're relatively similar, Jan, on travel insurance. There's a very interesting car hire excess gap that I found. So Klarna offers a market-leading £10,000 in car hire excess protection. So that's perfect, right? If you want to hire an exotic vehicle or a Aston Martin or maybe like a big SUV, Revolut Ultra is capped at £2,000 for car hire excess, which is obviously sufficient for standard rentals. But interestingly, Klarna Max and Revolut Ultra, less so about Ultra, but Klarna, they exclude prestige and exotic or high performance vehicles from the insurance. So it's something over 10 years old or £70,000, Jan.
If you're thinking of renting an Aston Martin and driving down the motorway to take advantage of this £10,000 in car hire excess protection, that's not going to work, unfortunately.
Maybe back to the travel insurance, getting the extra 5 million with Revolut Ultra versus Klarna Max's 5 million medical cover. Is that better? Does that make a huge difference?
No, don't think so. I mean, what has to happen to you in order for the medical bills to reach £10 million?
Maybe
I mean,
you're like stuck in the mountains.
You have to be fucked up at that point. Yeah, no. I mean, search and rescue is only £5,000, so not sure about this, to be honest. I think it's probably the same. If it's 5 million or 10 million, who cares? I think you'll be good either way.
Yeah, I'd say they're pretty aligned. Does that mean Klarna copied Revolut because they're aligned on travel insurance? No. But there are certainly some striking similarities, even if we, zoom out and look at just the 4 plans that Klarna are now offering. Core, Plus, Premium, Max, they somewhat mirror Revolut Standard, Plus, Premium, Metal, Ultra. We have Headspace as well available, ClassPass available. I'd be curious to get people's opinions on this, Jan, but it does feel a bit like they are looking at Revolut and saying, well, that looks like it's working for them. Let's have a go at that ourselves. They just IPO'd as well. It's a great way to signal to shareholders that they've got future big ambitions. And there is something that I unearthed in their terms and conditions for the insurance that I thought was fascinating. This is something that could arguably signal to us what they're thinking about doing in the future. They have ATM theft protection in their insurance, but they're not offering ATM withdrawals at this point. That could just be something that's included in, the cover that they, negotiated with their partners, but I thought that was interesting, Jan. I think that signals possibly that they're looking at ATM withdrawals in the future. And I really do strongly believe, mate, that in the UK, Klarna will eventually be a licensed bank, and these will eventually be real current accounts. And this is just the beginning. There is a bit of a lacking, right, with those subscriptions. But Ultra was a bit lacking in the early days. And I think it's only a matter of time before Klarna bulk out their offering. Do you see the similarities between the two providers?
Yeah, absolutely do. And I get your point. Might have to wait a little bit in order for Klarna Max to become a little more competitive. But at this point, probably advise against signing up. At least I personally don't see the benefit here. I don't like the way they handle their reward system. I find that complex and confusing. Plus, it gives you less Avios than Revolut, for example. And I also not a fan of the pink card, and I don't like the fact that there's a period subscription in there. I would
Let's
not
hold
take
on that
advantage
for a
of this.
moment. So as far as I'm aware, it's about a 60-40 split between women and men that use Klarna. So 60% of their customers are female. Do you see a bit of a feminine vibe with this account?
100%. Also look at the logo. It's pink or rose or... You know what I mean, right? It's for me that's
It's
pink.
not obviously a problem.
So we got a pink card, or we got a rose card. We got a rose logo. I mean, there are men that like rose. I assume they will exist, but I'd say the majority of men. If I was to ask you, Johnny, rose or blue, or rose or platinum, I'm sure you would choose platinum, and I'm sure most men would. So that's definitely leaning towards the female side of things. It's just an assumption. Maybe you feel differently. Just write into the comments. So don't want to polarize anyone. And I'm sure there are people now, maybe that identify as male that still have a period. Probably exist. Not sure if they're listening to this episode, but please correct me if I'm wrong. Don't want to offend anyone.
Look, and we're not saying that, you have to be a woman to choose Klarna Max and a bloke to choose Revolut Ultra. But,
oh, no.
It's pretty difficult to establish who should choose Klarna Max. I mean, someone that, heavily consumes the Times and sits in lounges a lot. Okay.
Vogue
is available, yeah.
Bon appetit.
But those that you obviously can, take care of separately. Unlimited lounge access through Lounge Key won't cost you as much as £540 a year. Neither will those subscriptions. If you rent cars frequently as well, possibly, you get your £10,000 of worldwide car hire excess. You do get retail protection, 30-day price match guarantee as well that I didn't mention with Klarna Max, whereby, if you buy something and you find it cheaper somewhere else, you can get the difference back. And you also get a 2-year extended warranty, Jan. We didn't mention that as well. I don't quite understand the ins and outs of how that would work and what the claims process might be like, but they are clearly doing things to protect shoppers. I could ask you now, who Revolut Ultra is for, and I imagine you're going to be able to give me quite a few people.
100%. I think I'd find that useful myself. I love, looking at these subscriptions. I do have a few there that I'm subscribed to. I mentioned in the past I'm subscribed to Uber One, and I hire cars on Turo once in a while. Maybe not every month, but it does happen. And I do like to collect Avios, so I think it's pretty good. It's a pretty good option, and I'd see myself using this as well. Klarna Max, on the other hand, I'm not sure, Johnny, and I'm also not a fan of Klarna in general. I don't like the buy now, pay later business model. I also don't think that's a good thing for society, because there are a lot of people that can't control their actions, that they end up abusing this, and that's not good at all. Obviously, that's not their fault per se, right? But still, it's not good in my opinion. At least my personal opinion is a little negative towards this account. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are people that love it. Maybe there are people that think positive about it. I'd be curious. So if you have a different opinion, write into the comments.
As it stands,
love to start a conversation.
As it stands,
here.
It still feels a little bit unfinished as well. Klarna Max, I think we have to give it the benefit of the doubt. It is a new product. We'll talk about it again in probably 6 months to a year, because I'm sure there'll be more updates. But as it stands, the reality is Revolut Ultra is the power tool for people that travel internationally, high earners as well. It's a great product, whereas Klarna Max feels very much geared to encouraging spending. The insurance alone isn't powerful enough or strong enough to compel you to go for it. You should get that policy on its own. So as it stands, I think, Revolut Ultra wins the fight of the final boss of fintech memberships.
Sounds so dramatic,
I love
Johnny.
It. Oh. I love it. They are the final bosses. This is like top tier fintech debit card accounts to some degree. Look, if you want to learn more about Revolut Ultra, we have a full video on Ultra. We'll put a card up on the screen that you can click. As always, if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to support the channel, please do like the video. Get in the comments with your opinion and thoughts. That's one of the best ways as well to contact us. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much, guys and girls, for watching today and listening. It's been a pleasure.